Want to grow healthy microgreens like a pro? Choosing the right trays and the right lighting is key to growing healthy, vibrant microgreens every time. In today's video, I'm breaking down the ultimate guide to microgreen trays and lighting, so you can grow a thriving garden at home with confidence. So let's dive in. And be sure to stick till the end of this video because I will share a mind-blowing secret tip that you won't want to miss. Hey microgreen thumbs, I'm Connor Hebel here with Amelia Island Microgreen, your trusted source for all things microgreens. If you've ever struggled with uneven growth, moldy trays, or you just want to make sure that you get off to the right start, this is the video for you. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to choose the right trays and lightings for consistent, healthy microgreens. Here's the thing, not all trays or lighting setups are created equal. Poor drainage, improper light intensity, and the wrong tray size can lead to weak, uneven growth, or even a total crop failure. I've been there myself, and it's frustrating to put all that work and effort only to have disappointing results. But with a few adjustments, you can fix these issues and grow beautiful, lush microgreens every time. So let's start with the trays. The right tray is more important than you might think. It affects drainage, airflow, and the overall health of your microgreens. Here's what to look for. The size matters. If you have a small kitchen countertop, you want to make sure that you get a tray that fits that size. If you have a bigger space, then you can go with a bigger microgreen kit. So definitely check and measure what would work best for you. Then the next question, are you going to get a tray that has holes or one that does not? This is a really vital question and will change the way that you grow your microgreens. I highly recommend getting one that has those drainage holes and has a 2-tier tray. The reason why this is so important is because since you're growing microgreens so densely, if you were to pour water on top of your microgreens, they're gonna have a high chance of mold because there's not enough ventilation. Whereas with this, you can lift the tray up, put a cup of water in, and put it back down. The risk of mold significantly drops when you do that. So it's super important and makes all the difference. Another thing I've seen around are grow trays that are compostable. And those are super cool. They're really great for the environment. And there are some trays that you can only grow one time and then you have to get rid of it. You can't reuse that tray. With Amelia Island grow trays, you're gonna be able to reuse them. I've had some of these trays for years and they have not broken on me. So if you're looking to just grow one time, you can go with those more cardboard texture type trays. Or if you're knowing that you want to grow a lot, then I would suggest getting a sturdy tray with good quality material. And a pro tip here, label your trays with your planting dates and what kind of crop you have to track the progress and keep things organized. All right, if you're enjoying this video so far, be sure to hit the like button and the subscribe, and be sure to turn on that notification so that you don't miss any amazing microgreen tips. So now let's talk about lighting. Good lighting is crucial for healthy, vibrant microgreens. Here's what you need to know. Natural light versus grow lights. If you have a sunny windowsill that gets around 12 to 16 hours of indirect sunlight a day, you can grow microgreens without extra lighting. Personally, I think you can even do like 6 hours. It doesn't have to be a ton of light. If you want consistent results year-round, grow lights are the way to go. They are optional. You do not have to do this. When you start out, just start out with a window. Keep it simple. And then as you feel more comfortable with it, add in those grow lights. They do really help. And I'll link a couple of my favorites in the description below, so you can go ahead and check those out. They're not super expensive, and if those are expensive for you, then you can go on like Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist and find one that works for you. There are plenty out there, so go ahead and check that out. So there's different types of lights, and not all of them are created equally. I'm gonna start out with my favorite and the one that I would highly recommend, and that is LED grow lights. They are the gold standard for microgreens. They're energy efficient, they don't overheat, and they provide the full spectrum of light that your microgreens need to thrive. Plus, they're not super expensive, and they don't burn out like your light bulbs do. There are other options of grow lights that aren't LED. However, I would just suggest LED. It's so much easier, and it's not that expensive. So now the placement. Place your grow light 6 to 12 inches above your microgreen tray to ensure even coverage without burning the plants. Microgreens need about 12 to 16 hours of light daily for optimal growth. Use a timer to automate this step and keep this step hassle-free. Another little tip, if you're going to grow your microgreens near a window, every other day you'll want to just take your tray and turn it. And the reason why is your microgreens will start growing towards the light, and so it won't look even. So if you turn it, it's going to stay in even growth. If your microgreens are looking pale or leggy, it might mean that your light source isn't strong enough. Consider upgrading or moving your trays closer to the light. This simple tweak can make a huge difference to your harvest. Another thing, if you're noticing that you're having your microgreens right next to the window, it's getting a lot of sunlight and it's still not growing, it's still leggy and a little wonky, check and see if you've recently upgraded your windows. Some of the newer windows have a tinting that blocks the natural sunlight out of the windows. And so you can have your microgreens right up against that light and it's still not work. In that case, you'll want to invest in a grow light. Just know the grow light on average is a very optional step. You do not need to start there. Most windows will get enough sunlight that you'll be able to just grow them right on your countertop. Feeling ready to level up your microgreen game? Head over to AmeliaIslandMicrogreens.com/101 to enroll in my Microgreens 101 Masterclass. It's packed with step-by-step guidance, pro tips, and everything you need to grow like a pro. Check it out today. I've been growing microgreens for 12 years and I'm so happy I'm able to support you with this amazing masterclass. It is so cool, so check it out. All right, so let's put all this together on the lighting and the microgreen trays. So you're gonna want a tray that is sturdy. Then you'll want one that fits the size of your countertop or wherever you're going to be putting your microgreen tray. I recommend a 12x9. That's a pretty good size tray. It's like this one. And so it fits on your countertop pretty well, and you're gonna get a good harvest from this one. There's approximately 6 ounces of microgreens every time you harvest it. And one of the most important things, if you take anything away from this, is the tray should be 2 tiers, meaning it should have this. This is gonna significantly reduce your risk of mold and make microgreen growing so much easier. So definitely get a 2-tier tray. And then you're gonna want to put your microgreen tray on a flat surface, whether that's a sturdy shelf or a kitchen countertop. That way the water distributes evenly across your microgreens. So then for your grow lights, you're gonna want an LED grow light positioned about 6 to 12 inches above your microgreen trays, providing about 12 to 16 hours of light daily. Know that it does not have to be this accurate, and you can add a timer so that way it turns on and it turns off and you don't have to worry about that. Or you can just turn it on in the day and turn it off at night. With this setup, you're giving your microgreens the perfect conditions to grow strong, healthy, and flavorful. Trays and lighting may seem like small details, but they're the foundation of successful microgreen gardening. By choosing the right materials and optimizing your lighting, you're setting yourself up for lush, vibrant microgreens every time. It's those little adjustments that make the big difference. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into trays and lighting. If you found these tips helpful, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and hit that notification bell. That way you see the next amazing video that I have in store for you. And if you're serious about growing microgreens like a pro, visit AmeliaIslandMicrogreens.com/101 to join my Microgreens Masterclass. It's your ultimate guide to thriving microgreens every time. Got any questions or tips of your own? Drop them in the comments. I love to hear from you. And until next time, happy growing. Remember, even the smallest tweaks in your setup can lead to big harvests. Stay curious, keep experimenting, and I'll see you next time with more microgreen growing tips. As always, stay awesome. Do you kill every plant you grow? I've been there. In fact, later in this video, I'll show you my succulent graveyard. Yes, I have a succulent graveyard and I grow microgreens. But what if I told you that there's a super easy crop that just grows in 7 days? It doesn't need a garden and it's almost impossible to mess up. Let me introduce you to microgreens. At the end of this video, I'll share my #1 microgreen growing tip that guarantees success, even if you've never grown anything before.
Hey, I'm Connor Hebel with Amelia Island Microgreens. With 13 years of experience, I've been featured in Forbes and Entrepreneur, and I've helped thousands of people start growing microgreens just like you, even total beginners. If you think you can't grow plants, you are in the right place. So let's talk about why are microgreens the easiest plants to grow. First of all, they grow in 7 days. As long as you can keep a plant alive for 7 days, you're able to grow microgreens. They just take 1 cup of water. You just lift the 2 trays up, put a cup of water in, and put it back down. So it's very minimal maintenance. And one of the reasons why I couldn't keep succulents alive is because you have to water them over the course of months, years, or even decades, depending upon how long they live. With microgreens, you just keep them alive for 7 days and you're good. And the cool thing about this, if you are someone who travels a lot, you don't have to worry about having someone coming over and watering your microgreens, because if you're going to go travel, you just grow your microgreens 7 to 14 days before you're going to leave. That way you have some time to eat them, and then you're done. You don't grow them while you're gone. Then you come back and you start growing again. How cool is that? I'm very busy and I travel, and that's how I grow my microgreens, is when I'm here I grow them, and when I'm gone I let them be. And the cool thing about it being 7 days, if you're someone who needs instant gratification, this is a way for you to grow your own food without waiting and waiting and waiting. Every day you look at your microgreens, they're gonna look like they've grown because they have. It's such a quick and super fun process. The second reason why microgreens are the easiest plant to grow is there is no garden or no special equipment needed. You only need a small tray, some seeds, and some water. You can grow them on a kitchen countertop or a windowsill. You don't even really need to get grow lights. Grow lights are nice if you want to have an even growth and you find that your light isn't enough. However, it really isn't necessary when you start growing your microgreens. And the great thing is there's no weeding, there's no digging, and there isn't special tools like shovels or any weed remover stuff that you would get out for growing a garden outside. So that's pretty cool too. It's much more affordable than going out and growing a garden. Number 3, there is no complicated care routine. As I talked about a little bit earlier in this video, there's not really that much you need to do. There isn't the weeding like outside. There isn't all the pests that you have to worry about. And you don't have deer coming over and eating them. There's no need to remember fertilizing or pruning or repotting. And all you have to do is, for the first 3 days, you mist them with some water. After that, you start watering underneath the 2 trays. So it's very simple. It's just once a day, you remember, you put some water by, and then you're good. There's nothing else you need to do. And then you just get to watch it grow. Number 4, it is harder to kill than regular plants. There's no deep roots, no complex soil needs, just basic care and they thrive. In fact, there are some days where I end up forgetting to water my microgreens and they look very sad and very droopy. So I'll just go ahead and put a little bit more water in. And as long as it's just 1 day, maybe a day and a half, they're gonna come back and it's totally fine. It's amazing how sad they can look, still be alive and able to continue growing. So now, have you ever killed a houseplant? Comment RIP below, and let's just take a moment to remember all those poor houseplants and a moment of silence for them. All right, and if you love learning easy ways to grow your own food, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss any amazing microgreen content. And don't forget, I'm sharing my foolproof microgreen growing trick at the end so even total beginners can succeed. All right, so now number 5. It is packed with nutrition. Microgreens are up to 40 times more nutrient dense than your regular vegetables, and they're perfect for boosting energy, immunity, and overall health. And I've mentioned in a few other videos, like this one right here, that Dr. Berg has talked about the sulforaphane content in microgreens. And sulforaphanes have been researched to reduce inflammation and have anti-cancerous properties. In your microgreens, there is 10 to 100 times more sulforaphane than your mature vegetables. Not 10 to 100%, 10 to 100 times. Microgreens are superfood, and it is incredible how healthy they are for us. So now number 6, there is no waste, only harvest what you need. Unlike store-bought greens, microgreens stay fresh right until you cut them. There's no sliminess or bitterness or anything like that because they're all fresh. And especially when you grow your microgreens at home, you're gonna get them even more fresh than if you get them at the store. At the store, they've typically already been harvested. That's why I love growing my own microgreens, is because I know what's on it and I know that I'm going to be able to eat them for as long as possible and get the highest nutrient content. So now, number 7, microgreens are fun and great for kids. Do you have a picky eater? Have you found that they only eat particular foods and they just don't like vegetables? Here's a cool secret. If you want to get your kid to start eating vegetables, what you need to do is make them invested. If they're going to grow their own food, they're going to eat it because they have that sense of pride and accomplishment. In fact, I have a customer who came to my booth at 7 years old and had no interest in vegetables. None, just chicken nuggets and hamburgers. That's all he wanted. And as soon as he started growing his microgreens, just for fun, he said he was not going to eat them, started eating microgreens. And that's from a kid who did not eat vegetables. Then it gets better. He started eating vegetables. This is a kid that would not eat vegetables. So it makes a huge difference when you get your kids invested in their food. And they're learning where food comes from. In our society today, we've become so disconnected from where our food comes from and how it's produced. Food doesn't come from a store, it comes from farmers and it can come from us. And so to teach your kids this vital lesson is so powerful and impactful. Now, number 8, it saves money. Store-bought greens can be crazy expensive, but growing them costs pennies on a tray. There are some ways you can grow them, such as DIYing them or growing them from a microgreen kit. And there's so many amazing benefits to grow your microgreens. This is just an added bonus to save some money. All right, so do you want to start growing your own fresh microgreens after hearing all these amazing things about growing microgreens at home? Even if you've never grown anything before, this free microgreen masterclass will teach you how to grow microgreens easily and effortlessly using my 13 years of microgreen growing experience. And I want to gift this to you because I know how important growing fresh food is, and especially in the time that we live in. So simply go to ameliaislandmicrogreens.com/101 for a free 10-part series, and I'll show you exactly how to grow your microgreens from scratch. So let's get to it. All right, are you ready for this foolproof microgreens growing trick? Simply add some cinnamon on top of your grow medium, whether that's cocoa coir or jute mat or some sterilized grow medium. And the reason why cinnamon's so powerful is it's antifungal and it will reduce your risk of mold. I use it every time that I'm growing my microgreens. Plus, I love the smell. It just adds a nice smell of cinnamon to your house. It's like you bake some fresh cookies. So adding that in really makes a difference, even if you're a total beginner. Comment below, what's the hardest plant you've ever grown? And don't forget to join the Microgreen Masterclass at ameliaislandmicrogreens.com/101 and start growing your greens today. And as always, stay awesome. See you in my next video.
Are you struggling to grow microgreens? I've talked with hundreds of people, some with major success in growing microgreens, and some people who just have had challenges. There have been some things that I found that have stayed consistent. When I talked with those 100 people, what I found was that the seeds that they were using were crucial to whether they succeeded or failed. And a big reason is that when you get your more challenging microgreens, they have extra steps that you need to know in order to make sure that you're gonna have success. So in this video, we're gonna talk about the seeds that you want to avoid if you are a beginner. So with this video, you will know which microgreens you do not want to grow. And then once you get used to the easier microgreens and you want a little challenge, then you can come back to this video and learn how to grow them so that you can say that you grew the hardest microgreens. And they're really fun once you know how to make those minor adjustments. So let's get to it. Later on in this video, I will share with you a secret tip on how you can grow the luscious microgreens. Today, I'm gonna tackle the top 3 hardest microgreens to grow, and most importantly, how you can master them. So let's tackle those challenges together. Hi, I'm Connor Hebel, also known as the Phytonutrient King. And here at Amelia Island Microgreens, we're super excited to be the go-to place for microgreen learning. And we love seeing you growing your microgreens right at home. After facing my own health struggles, microgreens became a vital part of my recovery. Now I'm excited to help you grow your own fresh, nutritious, and delicious microgreens right at home. So let's get started on the first hard microgreen to grow. And this one is actually a variety that I've just found is usually hard to grow. This is your herbs, which, it's kind of ironic that as microgreens, herbs are the hardest to grow, but when you're gardening and you're growing them into the mature plant, they're the easiest ones to grow. The reason why I say herbs are really hard to grow is because they typically take about 2 weeks to grow, whereas your standard microgreens take about 7 days. So it's like almost double the time. For example, I've been growing basil microgreens for a local restaurant, and it takes me about 2 weeks for basil microgreens. And the microgreens are half the size as the microgreens that I usually grow, like broccoli or collards that are super easy, which are it's like that much of a difference. It's incredibly slow. And so if you're looking for fast results, don't go with an herb to start with. And if there is an herb that you really want to grow, then I would suggest looking online, is this herb easy to grow? Because there are a couple exceptions to this, but for most of the herbs, they're more challenging. When you want to start growing herbs, just know that it's going to take a longer time, and there are typically a couple extra steps. Like, for example, with your basil microgreens, when you mist them, they get this gelatinous gel on the outside, and it can be kind of off-putting. The other thing about herb microgreens is that their seeds vary a lot in how they look. So your cilantro microgreen seeds are going to look a lot different than your basil microgreen seeds, which is pretty cool. It's really fascinating. But when you're learning how to spread your microgreens evenly, that makes it more challenging, especially if you're trying out different varieties. That's one of the things that I love about the more easy microgreens to grow, is they almost all have a very similar seed feel, and it makes it so much easier to spread it. And the other thing is that they all have their own unique quirks to them. You have your cilantro microgreens, which have this, it kind of reminds me of a crescent moon type of thing. It's a little different than that, but it does kind of have that look to it. And sometimes you have to pick off the shells. They're really cool microgreens though, and I really enjoy them. And just know this is not the absolute hardest. This is your more intermediate, so it's not super hard. So now with that, how do you grow your herb microgreens? Well, that is a great question. The very first thing I would recommend is to go online and research, how do I grow cilantro microgreens? Just look up, learn a bit more. It's not one of those that you can just go ahead and plant. You want to know what those little tweaks are, because each herb has a little different tweak. And if you're interested in learning more about that, let me know in the comments below, especially if there's a specific herb microgreen you want me to cover, and I will go ahead and make a video talking about the step-by-step process for that, because each herb is a little differently. So before I get to the second microgreen that I would suggest avoiding as a beginner, I would like to share with you a story. So I was at a vendor market and someone came up and they were talking about how they had a challenge growing microgreens. They did super well with chia seeds. It went amazing. And then they tried sunflower. And if anyone has ever tried sunflower, they will know the challenge with it. You have really great success with it, or you have horrible success. And it really varies. And you could do excellent with one set of seeds and horribly with the next, even from the same company. I've bought black oil sunflower from Trueleaf, and one bag was incredibly great, and then another one didn't work so well, because even within the same company, the seed quality, the seed germination rate varies so much. It is definitely one of those more finicky microgreens to grow. And so what I'll share with you in a minute is some of the ways that you can help avoid the big pitfalls of having failed attempts at sunflower. So before you try sunflower, I highly recommend trying some of the easier microgreens to grow. The first thing you want to do is make sure that your seed quality is really good. You want to make sure that your seeds are pathogen tested. And the reason is that if you've been in the sprouting community and you heard about the big E. coli scares, that was because people were getting seeds that were tainted with pathogens like E. coli and salmonella. While they were sprouting, all those pathogens were germinating. Because you're getting so close to that seed, you have to make sure that your seed quality is good. And you also want to make sure that your germination rate is really good, especially with a sunflower. The second thing that you want to make sure of is that you are soaking your seeds, but you want to soak it between 4 to 8 hours. You don't want to over soak, because if you over soak, your sunflower microgreens are more likely to mold. And that brings me to the third one. Sunflower microgreens do have a high chance of mold, so I would highly recommend creating a hydrogen peroxide base. You want to use food grade hydrogen peroxide with your sunflower microgreens. You want to use about 3%. What I would suggest doing is just adding a little bit of 3% of the food grade hydrogen peroxide, and make sure it's food grade, into the bowl that you're soaking your sunflower seeds in. You want to make sure that they won't mold again. And then after that, you can use a little spray bottle and just spray on top of them that food grade hydrogen peroxide. As well as if you start to notice mold in whether it's sunflower microgreens or any of the other microgreens you're growing, you can go ahead and just spray a little bit of that food grade hydrogen peroxide on there. Another thing that I like to do that doesn't come with as much of a risk of food grade hydrogen peroxide, because food grade hydrogen peroxide can potentially damage your microgreens, is using cinnamon. So I like to get a little bit of ground cinnamon and I just put it in my cocoa coir, my soil, and that really helps bring down the risk of mold. The other thing you can do is have really good ventilation, have a fan nearby, and that'll help ventilate, keep some of that mold down. We even have a fan running in our grow room when we're growing our microgreens, just to make sure that we're reducing that risk of mold. Do you like going to the movies and eating a nice bucket of popcorn? Well, then this microgreen is gonna really interest you. Corn microgreens are a really unique microgreen to grow because they require a really different setup than your average. In fact, corn microgreens never see the light. If they start seeing the light and they start going from that yellow color to more of a green, they're gonna start tasting like grass. So they have this really strange setup where you get this big black dome and you have to leave the corn microgreens in this dome, or otherwise, if they start seeing the light, they are gonna taste like grass. So you definitely have a different experience growing these microgreens than your average microgreen. And if you don't keep this dome well ventilated, then there's gonna be a higher chance that your microgreens are gonna have mold. The great thing is a lot of the grow systems for corn microgreens already have a built-in ventilation system. If you want a deeper dive into how to grow corn microgreens, let me know in the comments below and I'll be happy to make one for you. Which of these challenging microgreens have you had experience growing? Let me know in the comments below and I'd love to hear how it went. If there's any tips that you found that are super helpful, let us know, because if someone is having those same challenges, they might see it too and be able to take those tips and those tweaks and really be able to grow those more tricky microgreens. If you would like to go from beginner to confident microgreen grower, don't miss out on our free 10-part series that will teach you everything about microgreen. Head over to ameliaislandmicrogreens.com/101 or click the link in the description below to get started. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe so that you don't miss our next video that's going to be on how to make sure your microgreens germinate properly. Remember that secret tip I mentioned when growing microgreens? It's coming up in just a minute. So now let's go into this secret tip. If you want to get really into the fine minutia of making your microgreens grow the best, then this is a tip that you're going to be interested in. Do you have one preference in music that just every time you listen to it, you love it and it makes you feel so much happier? Well, microgreens are the same. Studies have shown that microgreens tend to grow better with classical music. I would really suggest looking into Dr. Emoto's work. It's on how when we say things like, I hate you or I love you, it actually changes the molecular structure of water. And since we're made up of water and plants are made up of water, it also affects our molecular structure too. I sing a little tune, I tell them how beautiful they are and how much I love them, as well as I just pay attention to them. So now that you know some of the hardest microgreens to grow, you may be wondering why, despite your best efforts, they just aren't germinating. Well, in this next video, we're gonna dive deep into some of those things that you can do to make your microgreens grow and be the luscious microgreens around. So hop over to this next video and I look forward to seeing you.
Have you started wondering why microgreens have started to become a big trend? This is a step-by-step complete guide on how to grow your microgreens right at home. Today, I'm gonna share with you the reason why I've been growing microgreens for over 12 years, and I absolutely love them. And stick till the end because I have a secret tip that you don't wanna miss. Hi, I'm Connor Hebel, the founder of Amelia Island Microgreens, which I started at 14 to empower you to grow your own health in 7 days. That's right, it only takes 7 days for you to have fresh live food right at your kitchen countertop. So let's dive in. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is get the cocoa coir, which is your sterilized coconut husk. And we're gonna go ahead and take it out of the wrapper. There's instructions on there. You see that little yellow circle thing? Those are your instructions. You can read them or you can just discard that as you're watching this video. Go ahead and put your cocoa coir into a bowl and get some water. I would recommend pH testing your water, which you can watch this video right over here to learn more about that. In the meantime, we're gonna go ahead and pour some water in. And I highly recommend warm water for this process. So the cool thing about cocoa coir, when it's compressed like this, it can expand up to 8 times its size that it is right now. Some cocoa coir pucks are really easy to come apart, other ones are not. I like to imagine one of those compressed washcloths that when you pour water on it, it expands. That's what cocoa coir is like. In this video, I ended up getting one of the more complicated ones. They usually take about half this time, so I'm just gonna go ahead and speed up this process for you. Essentially, just pour a bunch of warm water on your soil and you're ready to go. And the reason why I say warm water is if you pour cold water on, then it won't expand and it'll be a nightmare to get it to expand. It's something I've noticed throughout the past couple years as I've been growing microgreens and teaching thousands of people just like you to grow microgreens. The other thing that you can do is take your cocoa coir puck, lift it out of the container and flip it over. This way you're getting all the surface area starting to expand. And you can also take and just kind of rub off the cocoa coir that started to come off, and this way more of the water will go to that dry cocoa coir. So now that you have your cocoa coir all ready and it's ready to go, we're gonna go ahead and put it in the microgreen tray. You wanna put it as evenly as possible across your microgreen tray, and you don't want to press too hard on your soil as you're moving it across. You want it to still be kind of light and breathable without a bunch of divots where seeds can get stuck in little pockets. Because if seeds start to get stuck in a pocket, then they will clump together and potentially cause mold. So we don't want to risk that. So just keep spreading your soil across evenly. And then we're ready to go. So the next step is get your seed packet. So there's 2 ways you can do this. You can go online and get a seed calculator and measure out your seeds. It's a little bit complicated. You can do that. Or with a microgreen kit, you can just go and get your seed packet, go ahead and spread it across your soil. And for Amelia Island microgreen kits, every seed packet is the equivalent to 1 growing tray, which is about 6 ounces of microgreens. So just go ahead and get your seed packet and spread them across as evenly as possible. And another thing that's really cool is if you are more of a visual learner, which I'm assuming since you're on this video that you are, you can scan the QR code on that seed packet and it will take you to a video on how to grow microgreens. So if you get stuck along the way and the instructions aren't the way you like to learn, then go ahead and scan that QR code. So now you want to spread your seeds as evenly as possible. while making sure that you don't have any seed clumps. It is really important and will make such a huge difference along the way. You want to make sure that they're super even and you're getting the sides of the tray. You don't want to have them all in the center or all in one side. And one tip that I recommend is with your soil, such as a cocoa coir, get some seeds that stand out more, such as a wasabi microgreen, radish seeds. There's quite a few seeds that stand out in color that make it easy for you to see where you've been planting your microgreens. For a lighter colored soil, such as a jute mat, I would recommend your darker seeds such as broccoli, collards, oriental mustard, your typical microgreens that are easier to grow. If you find that your microgreens are all clumped together, you can go ahead and take your finger and just move them around so that they're all evenly spread out. And I'll show you what that looks like here. So now we're gonna take our spray bottle and use some of that same water that we pH tested, and we're just gonna spray our microgreens. And this is called germination. This is the time when we're telling our seeds, hey, it's time to start growing. And now we're gonna take the tin foil and we're just gonna cover up our microgreen tray. We're gonna keep our microgreens in a cool, dark space for the first 3 days. So that's super simple. Every day, all you're gonna do is just use your spray bottle and mist your microgreens and just keep them in a cool, dark space. And here you can put on your germination tracker, so that way you can keep track of what day your microgreens get out of germination and what microgreens are growing. And go ahead and spray it underneath your tin foil. It's super important. All right, so now we're at day 1. You can already see that the microgreens have started sprouting. So now we're just gonna spray them with our spray bottle, about 5 or 6 mists. We don't wanna waterlog it. We just wanna give it enough water so that it continues germinating. And then we're gonna spray the top of the tin foil. And then after that, it's all done and it's ready for day 2. Are you shocked at how easy it is to grow your microgreens? Go ahead and share your experience in the comments. I would love to hear, have you grown your microgreens or are you excited to start growing them? I read all my comments and I look forward to hearing what you say. If you're ready to start growing your microgreens today, then check out my free masterclass, which I've taken my 12 years of microgreen growing experience and compiled it to make it super easy and super fun for you to grow your microgreens right at home. So go to ameliaislandmicrogreens.com/101 for a free 10-part series that will take you from microgreen beginner to microgreen grower. All right, so we're back at day 2. At day 2, you can see that it's grown a bit. It's not a lot, it typically isn't. So we're just gonna mist it again and then mist the tin foil and then put it back and we'll be ready for day 3. All right, it's day 3. You can really see a difference with the microgreens this time. So we're gonna go ahead and mist them. This is the last day that we are misting our microgreens. So mist the microgreens and then mist the top of the tin foil and then put it back. And this is the last day, we'll leave it out. And it's day 4. So you can see the microgreens have really started to grow. We're just gonna throw away that tin foil. And now what we're gonna do is different. We're gonna take about a cup of water or half a cup of water, lift up that tray, put that water down, and leave it there. I'd check back in 15 minutes, make sure that that water's gone. If it's not, then go ahead and pour that out. Now what we're gonna do is put it next to a window, ambient light. All right, now it is day 5. You can already see the microgreens are starting to turn green. We're just gonna put that cup of water in and put it back down. Check back in 15 minutes. And make sure that it has all the water that it needs and pour off the rest. Day 6. We're gonna go ahead and do the same thing here. It's almost time. We just have one more day. So go ahead and put that water in and put it next to a window. You can see it's really green now, whereas it wasn't before. It is day 7. This is the day that you can start harvesting your microgreens. So go ahead and get some scissors and harvest as much as you want. You just cut right next to the soil. Ideally, don't get the soil, but as close to the soil as you can.
And if you do have some soil, it's okay. It's just sterilized coconut husk. It's just not gonna taste great. And now let's go ahead and put it on our food. So today I have a pizza that I'm gonna add some microgreens to, because you know, it makes it healthy, right? Doesn't it just look so much better that way? It was so much better tasting. And now we're gonna go ahead and put the microgreens that we did not eat back over by the window. And as soon as we're ready to eat the rest of those microgreens, we're gonna go ahead and harvest them. And I recommend leaving your microgreens next to the window, still growing until you're ready to start eating them. That way, your microgreens are as fresh as they possibly could be, because you can't get more farm to table than that. And you're going to have about another 7 to 14 days to eat off of them. If you haven't finished eating off of them in those 7 to 14 days, go ahead and watch this video, which will talk about the harvesting process to make your microgreens super easy to harvest and super fun. So thank you for watching this video, and I'm sure that now that you've seen this, you're starting to realize why microgreens are such a trend now and why I've been growing them for over 12 years. They make such a huge difference, and they're super healthy for you. In fact, this video right here will go really in depth on the health benefits of microgreens, and I'll give you a little hint. Microgreens are up to 40% more nutrient dense than your mature plants. Isn't that incredible? And that's just one of the many benefits of growing and eating your microgreens. If you're ready to start growing your microgreens today, then check out my free masterclass, which I've taken my 12 years of microgreen growing experience and compiled it to make it super easy and super fun for you to grow your microgreens right at home. So go to ameliaislandmicrogreens.com/101 for a free 10-part series that will take you from microgreen beginner to microgreen grower. So I look forward to seeing you in my next video, where I give you some incredible recipes to grow your microgreens. In fact, I'll be talking about microgreens on pizza. So go ahead and check it out, and I look forward to seeing you there. As always, stay awesome.
Do you think that growing microgreens is easy? It can be, but only if you avoid the common pitfalls that tied up so many aspiring growers. Join me today as I reveal the secrets of microgreen farming and challenge myself to grow a full harvest using the tips you won't find anywhere else. I'm Connor Hebel with Amelia Island Microgreens, your go-to place for all things microgreens. Welcome to today's video. We're diving into the fascinating world of microgreen farming and uncovering the secrets that can elevate your growing game. Whether you're just starting out or looking to elevate your skills, I'm here to help you grow healthier, tastier, and more consistent microgreens every time. Let's face it, growing microgreens isn't always as simple as it seems. Poor germination, lack of flavor, or even mold are common problems that frustrate many growers. But here's the thing, most of these issues can be fixed by mastering a few key techniques. And one of the best ways to help with this is by learning from someone who has made those mistakes before. So congratulations on being here. Today I'm sharing the top mistakes to avoid and how to create the perfect environment for your microgreens. First up, let's talk about the light. Lighting is super important. Microgreens need about 12 to 16 hours of light every day to thrive. Without enough light, your greens will be weak and leggy, not exactly what you're aiming for. And so the ideal place is just ambient light near a window. If that isn't working for you, then grow lights can work wonders. And I'll link a few in the description below. So if you want to research which lighting works best for you, you can do that. Adding grow lights is a completely optional thing. A lot of people have ambient light nearby, usually a kitchen countertop. There's usually a place to put it. Next, there's watering. Overwatering is one of the most common mistakes and can lead to mold and root rot instantly. It is the biggest challenge that growers have. So the most important thing is to keep the soil moist, but never waterlogged, and avoid splashing water on the leaves to prevent fungal diseases. This is why a 2-tier microgreen tray is so important. And what a 2-tier microgreen tray is the top tray has some holes so that the roots can grow through, and the tray underneath has no holes. It's what you're gonna pour the water into. And that is why a 2-tier microgreen tray like this is so important. because this tray, you put your seeds, your soil all up here, the roots grow underneath, and so you just put a cup of water right down here, put this back down, and it's done. And what is really important is wait 15 minutes, come back and look underneath this tray. If you see excess water, go ahead and pour that out. That you do not want to leave in here. We're just leaving enough water so that the microgreens can get water, but we don't want to waterlog it. If you're experiencing a lot of mold and you're using a tray that does not have 2 tiers, I highly recommend checking out and looking for a tray that has 2 tiers. And if you're just starting out, don't go through the hassle of having a 1-tier tray. It is so much pain, and I would just recommend skip that part. Just go with a 2-tier tray. And let's not forget about temperature and humidity. That is, mold likes warm and humid places. So the ideal situation is to have your temperature between 65 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit with a more dry climate is ideal. But of course we can't change if we live in a humid area. So just indoors usually is good enough. It's usually less humid than outside, so you should be okay with this. And say you are experiencing mold, one of the best things that I've found is something that's right in your pantry. Just get out your cinnamon and sprinkle a little bit on top. I like to do this in the germination stage. When I'm mixing up my soil, I'll add in a little bit of cinnamon. This just helps reduce the risk of mold, doesn't affect your seeds, and it smells nice. So that's a great thing, just like 1/8 of a tablespoon, not a lot. And by the way, if you're ready to take your microgreen growing skills to the next level, check out my Microgreens 101 Masterclass at ameliaislandmicrogreens.com/101. I've been growing microgreens for 12 years, and I want to gift this to you because I know how frustrating it can be to have that tray of microgreens that you've worked so hard on end up with mold. And I want you to be able to experience the joys of growing your microgreens as quickly and effortlessly as possible. So this is a step-by-step guide packed with everything you need to grow microgreens like a pro. Don't miss out. Visit the link today. You can look for it in the description below. It's ameliaislandmicrogreens.com/101. Now let's talk about the soil. The best soil for microgreens is a well-draining soil. I personally prefer coco coir because it's worked really well for me. I love watching it expand. It'll expand 8 times the size that you start with. It's really good at retaining moisture, but not causing mold. There are a lot of other grow mediums such as hemp mat, jute mat, there's even bamboo mats. There's mats that you can reuse that are made out of plastic. There's so many different kinds, and right here this video talks about all the different types of grow mediums. A couple things on soil. So the great thing about microgreens is that the nutrition is coming from the seed itself, which means that you don't need any nutrition in your soil or your water. That means that you can get sterilized grow mediums. And why sterilized grow mediums are so important is you won't get eruptions of bugs in your house. This is why I like coco coir, is because it's a sterilized coconut husk, and so I don't have to worry about bugs or anything like that. I just get to enjoy growing my microgreens. Another cool thing, when you're growing with coco coir, it's like having a magic wand that will tell you when you're ready to start watering your microgreens again. So if you look at your coco coir puck, it's going to be a light brown color. And this is going to be when it's absolutely dry and it'll need watering. When it's a darker brown, like when you pour water on it first and it starts expanding, this is what you want. You want it to be a darker brown, but you don't want it to look like a mud pie. So just somewhere in between that is exactly where you want it. And this is a really cool thing about coco coir that I haven't seen in your jute mats or hemp mats. You're really able to see how much water is in your soil. Remember that secret tip I mentioned earlier in this video? It's coming up in a moment. So now let's talk about seeds. Seeds are super important, and I believe they're the most important part in this whole process. If you have bad quality seeds, it doesn't matter how optimal your soil and your tray is, because they may not germinate. One of the most important things with this is getting pathogen tested seeds. And why this is so important is, remember like 5 or 6 years ago, there was this big E. coli scare. And the reason is people were incubating seeds that had been tainted with E. coli and salmonella. They weren't getting pathogen tested seeds. So they were incubating in their jars that E. coli and salmonella. We don't want that, so let's get pathogen tested seeds. And as a bonus, getting organic, heirloom, non-GMO are super great. And of course, they're gonna add a lot of benefits. You just need to have the pathogen tested seeds. And the great thing about that is typically when they test for pathogens, they're also gonna check for the germination rate. And you want to have a high germination rate. So that's gonna really help, because have you ever done like everything perfect and your seed doesn't grow? It's probably that it doesn't have enough of a germination rate. And while we're on the topic of germination, when you get your microgreen kit, you have about 1 to 2 years to be growing your microgreens. The longer you wait, the less the germination rate's going to be. But as long as you keep it in a cool, dark space, the seeds are gonna last. So what's been your favorite part of this video so far? I'd love to hear in the comments any big takeaways you've had. Have you grown microgreens? If so, what kinds have you grown and what have you put them on? Do you like to eat them plain, or do you like to add them to your salads or smoothies? I read all my comments and it always is so incredible to hear what you say. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you see the next videos that are coming out, because you don't want to miss the incredible microgreen facts that I will share with you in our next videos. And here's that secret tip. Some microgreens have very specific needs on how to grow them. For example, warmer temperatures might speed up the germination for some, while others thrive in cooler conditions. Understanding these details can dramatically improve your success rate. And this is why in my microgreen kits, I make sure you get the easiest microgreens that are gonna grow in 7 days, are super hardy and easy to grow. There's not much of a challenge. You don't need to soak them or worry about putting a layer of soil over them like some microgreens. And they grow in just about any temperature. I've found that they're super hardy and just easy to grow. And I wanna make it as easy and impactful as possible. So that way, when you reorder, you can do the more challenging ones. You can start soaking your seeds or putting a layer of soil over the ones that need that, because I want to set you up for success. If you're interested in what kind of microgreens are best for beginners, check out this video right here where I talk about the easiest microgreens and also some of the healthiest microgreens. So for your sunflowers, your peas, and a few of your other microgreens, they're going to need to be soaked. And you want to soak them between 6 to 12 hours before you plant them. You don't want to over soak them, or otherwise you will risk mold. This step can dramatically improve your germination rates. By softening that seed coat, you're giving your microgreens a head start, which means they're going to be healthier and more uniform in growth. It's one of my favorite pro tips, and is one that makes a big difference. So what's the bottom line? Success with microgreens comes down to mastering the basics: light, water, soil, temperature, and timing, and then tailoring these factors to meet a need for each variety. By doing this, you can grow vibrant, nutrient-rich microgreens that elevate your meals and impress your friends and family. If you found these tips helpful, head over to ameliaislandmicrogreens.com/101 and enroll in our Microgreens 101 class. It's your ultimate guide to growing microgreens like a pro, with step-by-step instructions, insider secret, and everything you need to take your microgreen farming to the next level. And while you're here, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. And turn on those notifications so you never miss the next deep dive into the world of microgreens. Let me know in the comments what you're growing right now and what your challenges you're facing. I'd love to help you out. And I just want to say, as a quick disclaimer, if this has made you concerned or worried about growing your microgreens, please don't fret. This is the worst case scenario. The worst case scenario is you have a little bit of mold and you have to start over. Big deal. It happens to everyone, even the most advanced growers. This just means you get to try it again, and you get to try a new variety, because sometimes people are better at growing one variety than the other. And so don't let this discourage you. Most likely, if you have the right seeds, the right soil, and the right tray, you're gonna be set up for success, and it's gonna happen. If it doesn't, then feel free to reach out to me at connor@ameliaislandmicrogreens.com. You can send pictures over or ask me any questions, and I'd be more than happy to help you and support you in your microgreen growing. As I mentioned, I've been growing microgreens for 12 years, and so I'm happy to give that knowledge to help you grow your microgreens too. So remember, the tiniest changes can make the biggest difference. And thank you for watching. I'll see you in our next video where we'll explore advanced techniques to supercharge your microgreen growing. As always, stay awesome and happy growing.
Are you struggling to grow healthy microgreens? I've been there. I've been growing microgreens for 12 years and I've experienced all sorts of stuff under the sun. So whether it's mold, improper watering, or lack of sunlight, we've got you covered. In today's video, we are covering the most common things people encounter when they start growing their microgreens and the solutions to help overcome those challenges. And most importantly, how to fix those problems. With 12 years of microgreen growing experience, we've got you covered. I've got a secret tip that you're not gonna wanna miss. Hi, I'm Connor, the founder of Amelia Island Microgreen. Here at Amelia Island Microgreens, we're all about empowering you to take control of your health and food security by growing your own microgreens right at home. If you haven't seen the first video of this 2-part video series, be sure to watch that one because it has all sorts of amazing tips. Today, I am super excited to share some tips on how to overcome those microgreen problems so that you can have a lush, bountiful microgreen harvest. So let's get to it. Growing microgreens can be incredibly rewarding. Not only do they pack a nutritional punch, but they also add a vibrant, fresh touch to any meal. However, like any gardening endeavor, microgreens come with their own set of challenges. Addressing these issues early on is crucial to ensure your microgreens stay healthy and productive. So let's dive into some of the most common problems you might encounter and how to solve them effectively. Last video, we talked about overwatering your microgreens. Let's talk about the opposite, underwatering. Sadly, underwatering is as problematic as overwatering. Underwatered microgreens can become dry and unhealthy, leading to poor growth and wilted plants. Making sure your microgreens get the right amount of water is super important. Here's a simple trick. Check the cocoa coir regularly. When it changes from dark brown to light brown, it's time to water. I always know my microgreens are dry when the soil looks the same color as when it was compressed in the puck form. That light brown shade is a clear signal that your greens need a drink. Keep the growing medium consistently moist, especially during the crucial germination phase. But remember, don't overdo it. You want to avoid making it waterlogged. Striking the right balance will help your microgreens thrive. Speaking of mold, here's that secret tip. One of the most common issues growers face is dealing with mold. Mold can quickly ruin your microgreen, especially if you're using the wrong type of tray. When microgreens are grown densely and you just pour water on top, they can easily mold. It's frustrating, right? But don't worry, I've got a game-changing solution for you. All right, here's the secret tip for growing successful microgreens. The microgreen tray you use is a game changer. One of the biggest reasons microgreens fail is because of the wrong type of tray. When microgreens are grown densely and you just pour water on top, they can easily mold. That's why a 2-tier tray is so crucial. With a 2-tier system, you can lift the top tray, pour about 1/2 a cup of water into the bottom tray, and then set the top tray back down. This method allows the water to be absorbed from the bottom, keeping your microgreens mold-free. Trust me, this little tweak can make a huge difference when you're growing success. I care so much about preventing these common problems because I've been there myself. I remember the frustration of seeing my hard work turn into a moldy mess. It was such a disappointment. That's why I'm here to share my 11 years of microgreens growing experience, so you don't have to go through the same struggle. Through trial and error, I discovered effective solutions that made a huge difference. Now, I'm passionate about sharing these tips with you, so you can avoid the same pitfalls and enjoy the satisfaction of growing your own healthy microgreens. And if you're looking for an easy way to get started, check out our microgreen kits. They're designed to reduce the risk of mold and make your growing journey a breeze. Trust me, with the right knowledge and tools, you'll be growing beautiful microgreens in no time. Light is another critical factor in growing healthy microgreen. Without enough sunlight, your plants can become weak and spindly. Inadequate light is a common issue, especially if your home doesn't get much natural light. To help your microgreens thrive, place them on a windowsill that gets plenty of sunlight throughout the day. But here's a pro tip. Some newer windows have tinting that blocks out the part of sunlight that microgreens need to grow. If you notice your microgreens aren't turning green after germination, don't worry, I've got you covered. Try taking your microgreens outside for 15 to 20 minutes of direct sunlight daily. Just make sure to supervise them to prevent wilting. And if natural light is a struggle in your home, investing in a good quality grow light can make all the difference. You can find plenty of great options on Facebook Marketplace. With the right light, your microgreens will be lush and green in no time. Poor germination can be incredibly frustrating. This issue is often due to inconsistent moisture levels or improper seed depth. All right, let's talk about seeds. It's super important to make sure your seeds are from a trusted source. A few years back, there were some scary E. coli outbreaks because seeds weren't properly tested for pathogens. That's why we only use seeds that are organic, non-GMO, heirloom, and pathogen tested. Safety first, right? To boost your germination success, make sure your seeds are evenly spread out. Keep the growing medium consistently moist, but not soaked in wet. Consistent moisture during germination is key to getting those seeds to sprout healthily and uniformly. Follow these tips, and you'll be on your way to a bountiful microgreens harvest. If you're finding these tips helpful, please give this video a like. It really helps us out and lets us know we're providing valuable content. Now that you've got the solutions to common growing problems, you might be wondering how to harvest and store your microgreens for maximum freshness. Don't worry, we've got you covered. Make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss out on our latest videos packed with tips and advice on growing your own microgreen. For a deeper dive into the amazing health benefits of microgreen and tips on how to grow them, click the link or head over to AmeliaIslandMicrogreens.com 101. Learn how you can grow and enjoy your own microgreens in just 7 days. I'll show you exactly how to harvest and store your microgreens for maximum freshness in the next video. Click on the video on your screen right now and I'll see you there.
Think that you know everything about microgreens? Well, think again. From their taste to their nutrition, the myths about these tiny greens are bigger than you might think. Today, we're gonna bust those biggest myths about microgreens and uncover the surprising truths that could change the way you eat your microgreens forever. Hey microgreen thumbs, this is Connor Hebel here with Amelia Island Microgreens, the go-to place for all things microgreen learning. Today, we're gonna be diving into the world of microgreens to bust some of the biggest myths out there. From the taste to the nutrition, there's a lot to uncover. So stick around. This might just change the way you think about microgreens. And at the very end of this video, I will share with you a secret tip that is super shocking and has blown my mind, and I know it will blow yours. So microgreens have been making waves in kitchens around the world. They're young, nutrient-packed greens with a reputation for being a superfood. But with popularity comes a lot of misinformation. Are they really just a passing fad? Do they really taste like their mature versions? Are they only for fancy foodies? Let's separate the facts from fiction once and for all. First up, the very first myth is about what microgreens taste like. Do they taste like their mature counterparts? Many people think, if I don't like kale or spinach, I definitely won't like their microgreen counterpart. But here's the truth. Microgreens have a different taste and a more delicate flavor profile. So some even taste more sweeter or nuttier. Chefs and foodies love them for their unique taste, and trust me, your taste buds might too. And here's a really cool fun fact about microgreens. Are you one of those people who eat cilantro and it just tastes like soap? Well, the cool thing is, the microgreen stage of cilantro might not taste like that for you. There are many people who have that same thing with their taste buds that can eat cilantro microgreens just fine. While you may not like one vegetable, the microgreen version may just be the right solution for you. And here's a little secret. If you don't like eating vegetables, just add them to your sandwiches or a smoothie and you won't even notice them. I like to do like broccoli, kales, collards. They're more mellow, you don't really taste them, so you can just add them right in without really noticing them. If you're someone who likes them to stand out, then more of an oriental mustard or a radish will really enhance the flavor of your meals. Another favorite is sunflower and peas because they're nice and crunchy. Myth 2. Next, let's tackle the idea that microgreens are only for fancy foodies who eat at the most high-end restaurants. Sure, you'll probably see them adorning a $50 entree or at the store for like $10 for a little tiny tray. But the truth is that microgreens are incredibly accessible. They're easy to grow, affordable, and anyone, even you, can add them to your everyday meals. You don't need a 5-star restaurant to enjoy them. And as I like to say, you may not have a green thumb, but you have a microgreen thumb. It is so easy and simple to grow them yourself, and it is so much more affordable to do so. While microgreens are excellent to top on a steak or a nice fancy meal, they can be great on their own, just eating them by themselves as a nutritional benefit. You can also throw them into anything you're eating, soups, salads, sandwiches. It doesn't have to be that fancy restaurant you like to go to. By the way, if you're looking to dive even deeper into the world of microgreens, specifically how they can benefit your reptiles, text the word reptile to 26786. That is reptile to 26786. You'll get exclusive, in-depth knowledge that you won't find anywhere else. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss out on any microgreen tips or tricks. And while you're here, let me know in the comments below, has this been shocking to you so far? Have you found any aha moments? I can almost guarantee you that these next couple myths are gonna blow your mind. So let's get to them. Myth number 3, microgreens are artificially flavored. I've had many people sample the oriental mustard microgreens, which are the cousin to wasabi, and they ask me, how do you flavor these microgreens? Because they taste so good. We've become so disconnected from nutritionally dense food that really tastes good. A lot of our food in the store, it doesn't taste like it used to taste 50 years ago. And so we think it must be flavored. The truth is, you're getting the healthiest food and it tastes good because that's how food's supposed to taste. There is no artificial flavors, there's no chemicals, no dyes, no pesticides that are in your microgreens. It's all clean, fresh, nutrient-dense produce. And if you're thinking, microgreens are no healthier than the vegetables I buy at the store, think again. Microgreens have been shown to be up to 40% more nutrient-dense than your mature vegetables. So they are super healthy for you, and they're live. A lot of the produce you get at the store has been harvested weeks, maybe months before you get it, so it's already nutritionally depleted. So to have something live right at your kitchen countertop is such an incredible thing. And microgreens have been shown to have significantly higher levels of vitamins, such as, for example, kale having a significantly higher level of vitamin C and E compared to mature kale. These tiny greens are a nutritional powerhouse. Myth number 4, the growing difficulty. This is the myth that you have to have fancy equipment, it's gonna be so hard, it takes all your time and all your energy, and it leaves you with nothing else to do in the day. This is simply untrue. First of all you need is a small tray, such as the one in our microgreen kit, some seeds, some soil, and just put it near a window. You don't need to have fancy grow lights. That's more when you're growing to sell to other restaurants or to other people. What you'll find if you're like me and you love microgreens is that's the stage you'll end up going to, but that's not where you start. You start out with just a small tray. It's super simple. And like I mentioned before, you may not have a green thumb, but you have a microgreen thumb because microgreens take only 7 days to grow. So that means that if you can keep a plant alive for just 7 days, you can do this. And it is so simple. Plus, I have all sorts of videos on how to grow your microgreens, so you're not alone in this process. I'm here to help, and on your box, you'll have my number. Call me if you have any questions, concerns, or you just want to make sure that you're doing it right. because you're learning and I want to be there to support you. I've been growing microgreens for 12 years, and so I want to impart that knowledge that I've learned through my trial and error. One of the other excellent parts about growing microgreens is that since it only takes about 7 to 10 days, if you're someone who travels a lot, you can grow your microgreens and just leave like a 2-week window. So start growing your microgreens, and then after 2 weeks, you can go traveling again, because you'll have that time for it to grow and then time to eat it. After that, just don't plant them until you come back. And then once you come back, grow your microgreens again. So that's a really great thing. Whereas if you grow a garden, you're going to have to be tied to that garden. You have to hope and pray that the rain's going to come, or you're going to have to put in the watering system to do that. With microgreens, you really don't have to worry about that. And that's something that I really love about microgreens. They're very low key, easy to handle. And to be honest, I have a succulent graveyard because I couldn't sustain that long period of time to take care of those plants. After a while, I got sidetracked on my new project. And so to be able to take a pause and be able to do something different gives me that time to come back to microgreens when I'm ready to do that. And I know that a lot of people squirrel and do a bunch of things and then forget to water. If you miss one day of watering microgreens, you will be okay. Just try not to count on it. Microgreens are hardy and they typically will come back. You'll just want to water them while they're growing once a day, and that's about as much maintenance as you need. There's no weeding, no worrying about bugs, no creating a whole big garden bed, the weather, all of that stuff that you have to worry about with gardening. So it's so much simpler. And if you're someone who can't get outside or has a lot of health challenges, this is a great way for you to be able to grow your own food right at your kitchen countertop where you have easy access to it. There are times where I may not be able to get outside, but I can still grow my microgreens. And there's such a huge benefit in being able to grow your own produce. It really helps your mental health. And so to be able to cultivate something while you're not feeling that great can really be a huge improvement in your life. So remember that secret tip I mentioned earlier? It's coming up in just a moment. So what's the verdict? Microgreens aren't just pretty garnishes. They're versatile, nutrient-dense, and accessible for anyone. They can cultivate any meal, whether it's a salad, sandwich, or smoothie. And growing them, it's simple. Anyone can do it. Everyone has a microgreen thumb. So now I want to hear from you. Have you tried growing microgreens? Did you grow them at home? Share some of your tips, tricks, or favorite ways to use them in the comments below. And if you're curious on how to get started growing microgreens, check out my video on beginner tips. It's packed with everything you need to know, linked in the description below. And if you're ready to take your microgreen growing to the next level, check out my website, ameliaislandmicrogreens.com, and get your very own microgreen kit today. Myth 5. Buying store-bought microgreens is the same quality as growing your microgreens at home. This is not the case. There are a couple big benefits to growing your microgreens at home that you won't get from store-bought microgreens. The very first one is that when you grow your own microgreens, they are going to be fresh. You're going to be able to harvest your microgreens right when you're ready to eat them, which means that they've been live up until the moment you're about to harvest them. When you get your store-bought microgreens, they've already been harvested, and so they're degrading, they're losing their nutrition. Another huge factor in this is that since you're still growing your microgreens as you're eating them, that means that you have another 7 to 14 days that your already grown microgreens won't have. So growing them yourself will give you a longer shelf life. Another huge benefit is you're in control of what goes on it. You're in control of the water, the soil, the seeds, everything. Okay, it's time for the moment you've been waiting for, the secret tip. And today's secret tip is one that is absolutely fascinating. It's on sulforaphanes. What are sulforaphanes? Sulforaphanes are a phytonutrient that have been researched to aid in cancer prevention. And what they do is they cause cancer cells to autophagize, which basically means commit suicide, which that is so incredible to have a phytonutrient that can potentially do this. So sulforaphanes are usually seen in your leafy vegetables, such as your broccolis, kales, collards, cabbages, all of your brassica family. And And in your microgreens, there's been research to be about 10 to 100 times more sulforaphane than your mature vegetable. Not 10 to 100%, 10 to 100 times. When you eat your vegetables in the microgreen stage, you're getting a super packed superfood. It is so incredible. And hearing that from Dr. Berg completely shocked me. We all should be eating microgreens because sulforaphanes are such a powerful phytonutrient. Another video that I'll show right here from Dr. Berg talks about that sulforaphanes can also be used to help reduce the effects of autism. And that is pretty incredible. It works on the inflammation in our brain. Remember, sometimes the tiniest of things, like microgreens, have the biggest impact. So why not give them a try? Until next time, keep exploring, keep experimenting, and I'll see you in the next video. As always, stay awesome.
Ever harvested your microgreens and wondered, how long will they stay fresh? How long do I have to eat them and put them into food? Well, in this video, we're gonna uncover that. Stick around because I'm gonna spill the beans, how to keep your microgreens lasting as long as possible. And guess what? Later in this video, I'll share a pro tip with you that'll change the way that you store your microgreens to keep them fresher even longer. Hi, I'm Connor with Amelia Island Microgreens. I'm excited to be the go-to place for growing your microgreens. Today I'm here in the library, so if I'm a little bit quieter, that's fine. Our mission is to empower you to gain even better health and food security in just 7 days. So let's get on with it. Today we're diving into the question, how long will microgreens last? Before you harvest your microgreens, here are a couple of helpful steps. Let your microgreens grow until you're ready to eat them. Then just harvest what you need. This way, your greens stay fresher longer and won't degrade. I'd suggest harvesting all of your greens by day 14 or sooner if they start tasting bitter or showing a third leaf. The exception is peas. They become woody quickly, so harvest them around day 8 to 10. All right, let's talk about harvesting your microgreens. Grab some clean, sharp scissors or a knife and cut the microgreens just above the soil line. Using clean, sharp tools makes the job so much easier and keeps everything nice and tidy. And here's a pro tip. Don't water your microgreens for about 6 hours before you harvest them. This little trick helps keep them super fresh. Happy harvesting. Let's talk about storing your freshly harvested microgreens to keep them at their best. After you cut your microgreens, one of the best ways to store them is in a container with a dry paper towel. Here's why. The paper towel helps absorb any excess moisture, which is key to preventing mold and keeping your greens fresh. Here's how you do it. Grab an airtight container and place a dry paper towel at the bottom. Gently lay your harvested microgreens on top of the paper towel. And if you'd like, add another dry paper towel on top of the greens before sealing the container. This setup helps maintain the right humidity level so your microgreens stay crisp and delicious. Remember, moisture is the enemy when it comes to keeping your greens fresh. Lastly, store the container in the fridge, ideally in the crisper drawer, for optimal freshness. By using this method, your microgreens can stay fresh and tasty for up to 10 days. A crucial tip for keeping your microgreens fresh is to store them in the refrigerator at a consistent, cool temperature. Fluctuations in temperature can cause your microgreens to wilt faster and lose their crispness. Keeping them at a steady, cool temperature helps them stay fresh longer. How do you usually store your microgreens? Here's another important tip for keeping your microgreens fresh. Avoid washing them until you're ready to use them. Here's why this matters. Washing microgreens before storage adds extra moisture, which can speed up spoilage and lead to mold growth. By keeping them dry, you extend their shelf life. Microgreens stay fresh longer when they're dry, so only wash the amount you plan to use right before you eat them. This way, the rest stay in optimal condition in the fridge. If you're looking to extend the freshness of your microgreens even further, consider one of my favorite ways to prolong the benefits of microgreens. Throw them in a dehydrator and make finishing salts with them. Let me break it down for you. First, spread your freshly harvested microgreens evenly on the dehydrator trays. Set your dehydrator to a low temperature, around 95 to 115 degrees Fahrenheit, and let them dry until they're crispy. This process removes all the moisture while preserving the nutrients and flavor. Making finishing salts. Once your microgreens are dehydrated, grind them into a fine powder using a food processor or a spice grinder. Mix the powdered microgreens with sea salt or your favorite finishing salt. I like to use a ratio of about 1 part microgreens to 5 parts salt, but you can adjust this to your taste. The dehydrated microgreens are tiny, but they pack a punch in terms of nutrients and flavor. The best part, when you use them in finishing salts, picky eaters won't even notice. Just sprinkle the finishing salt on your meals, and you'll get all the health benefits of microgreens without altering the taste significantly. By dehydrating your microgreens and turning them into finishing salts, you're not only prolonging their benefits, but also adding a unique, healthy twist to your meals. Give it a try and see how easy it is to incorporate more nutrients into your diet. If these tips have been helpful, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. All right, here's a pro tip. If you wash your microgreens before storing them, give them a quick spin in a salad spinner to remove any excess moisture. This little trick helps keep them fresher for longer. Now that you know how to keep your microgreens fresh, you might be wondering, can microgreens be cooked? Don't worry, I've got a solution for that too. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on my next video where I tackle wilting microgreens. Want to dive even deeper into growing microgreens? Join our free 10-part email series to go from beginner to microgreen grower using my 12 years of growing experience. Head over to AmeliaIslandMicrogreens.com 101 or click the link in the description or pinned comment. Click on the video on your screen right now to learn if you can cook microgreens. I'll meet you over there to show you how to.
Are you not a fan of gardening, but you still want to grow your own healthy food? Well, in this video, we're going to cover how you can grow your own food easily and effortlessly. And even brown thumbs can do this. That's right. What if I told you that I had a solution that is faster, more nutritious, and easier than traditional gardening? Let's get started on your homegrown microgreen journey right now. And stick around because I've got an amazing secret tip that will make your microgreen growing even easier and something that most people don't know about. Hey everyone, this is Connor with Amelia Island Microgreens, where we make it easy for you to grow your own fresh, nutrient-packed greens right at home. Whether you're a green thumb or just starting out, we've got everything you need to succeed. So let's get growing. Let's first of all talk about what are microgreens and why are they so important. So microgreens are the stage right after a sprout, and they take about 7 to 14 days to grow. So they're super fast and easy. And why I love this stage for microgreens is they are the most nutrient-dense stage in the life cycle of a plant. They're 40% more nutrient-dense than your mature veggies that you get at the store, and you're eating them live. You're not going to the store and getting a vegetable that's already been picked weeks, maybe months before you get it, and sprayed with who knows what. This is all clean, fresh, and you harvest it immediately. Another cool thing about microgreens is that they have a phytonutrient called sulforaphane. And sulforaphane has been shown to aid in cancer prevention. In microgreens, there's 10 to 100 times more sulforaphanes in your microgreens than in mature vegetables. That's not 10 to 100%, that's 10 to 100 times. That is incredible. So for health, microgreens are excellent. The other thing that got me started with growing my microgreens is that they are foolproof. They are very hardy and easy to grow. You don't need to be a gardener or have experience with plants in order to succeed. In fact, I started growing my microgreens when I was only 7 years old. And it was something that I just fell in love with and has stuck with me ever since. So one of the ways that microgreens are great for brown thumbs is that you only need to grow them for 7 days. That's right, 7 days. As long as you can keep a plant alive for that long, you're gonna be good. In fact, I have a succulent graveyard because I'm the type of person who will water and take care of a plant for a few days and then I forget about it. I'm definitely one of those out of sight, out of mind people. So having something that only takes 7 days is enough time for me to water it and take care of it and then move on to something else. And then when I'm ready to do microgreens again, I just replant my greens and I start eating. The other excellent thing about microgreens is you just put them right on your countertop. They're all indoors. You don't have to go outside with the bugs and the weeds and all of that stuff that just
makes gardening a pain. The other awesome thing about microgreens is that they take up such a small space. In fact, it's about a 9 by 12 space that you can put right in your countertop. That means that you can grow microgreens indoors. Let's be real, who has time to weed and figure out what kind of bugs are eating your plants? With microgreens, you don't have any of that. For those of you who have gardened before, do you know that feeling of going out into your garden, spending all that time, all that energy, putting so much money into creating a garden, only to get a couple small carrots, maybe a couple tomatoes? I know that feeling too. When COVID hit and the produce just got so funky, I decided I needed to start growing a garden because I didn't know what was going to happen with the food chain. And what I found was I would weed, and then a week later, it would look like I had never weeded. It was horrible, and it made me realize how important microgreens are, because there's none of that pain of having a garden, and yet there's all the benefits of having your own live, fresh produce. So let me break down what I just told you. So the first thing, 7-day turnaround. That means that in 7 days, you're gonna be harvesting your own vegetables. When you garden, it's gonna take a bit longer. So to be able to just go over to your kitchen counter and watch your plants grow so quickly, it is the best feeling. It's like watching kids grow up. It's so fast and it's so quick. It's actually faster than watching them grow up. So then another thing, bugs. With microgreens, you don't have any eruptions of bugs. You don't have to worry about all those annoying pesky pests that are outside eating your plant. The soil you receive in our kits has been sterilized, which means there's no bugs and no worry of pests, unless of course you have them in your house. So now let's talk about weeding. There is no weeding with microgreens. That's right, no weeding, and you get vegetables. It is so amazing. Unlike gardens where you have to go outside and weed weekly, and once you've weeded, you look outside and there are weeds again. That does not happen with microgreens. Another great thing about microgreens, you don't have to amend the soil because the nutrition is in the seed itself. Have you ever had to go outside and you see your plants aren't growing and you're wondering why, because you're doing everything right, but you realize your soil's full of sand or dirt that just doesn't have the nutrients it needs? Well, with microgreens, you don't have to worry about that because your nutrition is coming from the seed itself, which means your soil doesn't really matter. You can add nutrients to it. There are some more advanced growers who do that. However, I don't do it and you don't need to. And you'll still be getting 40% more nutrient density. Do you have limited mobility or may not be able to grow a garden because you have to stay in your house? Well, the great thing about microgreens, you can be growing your microgreens right at your countertop or whatever space works for you and your mobility. So they're excellent for people who want to garden but just don't have that physical ability. Or if you just don't have much energy in the day, it is so simple to take care of them. It's as easy as lifting up the 2 trays, putting a cup of water in, and then putting that back down. And 7 days you have microgreens. There's nothing like lifting your spirits by bringing life into your house. And speaking of not leaving your house, have you ever gone to the store and you've gotten everything you think you need, only to look back on your list and realize you missed something? That happens to all of us. Well, with microgreens, everything you need is going to be delivered right to your door. That means you never have to leave your house to grow your own microgreen. It's super fast and it's super simple. And if you have any questions or challenges, you can always reach out to us at Connor@AmeliaIslandMicrogreens.com. That's Connor@AmeliaIslandMicrogreens.com. And we'll be happy to answer any questions you have and help you figure out if your growing space is the right space or if it needs to be somewhere else or those minor adjustments. Overall, microgreens are really party, so you don't really have to worry about this too much. So let me know in the comments below, have you ever tried growing microgreens before? If not, then what's been holding you back? Remember that secret tip I mentioned earlier? It's going to be coming up in just a moment. If what's holding you back has been the confusion of how do I even grow my microgreens? Where do I start? Well, then I have the perfect solution for you. Text microgreens to 26786. That is microgreens to 26786. All you do, you pull up your phone and you go like you're going to go text a message to your friend and type in 26786. Where the comment area is, just type in microgreens. And when you do that, you will get insider tips on how to grow your microgreens valued at $250. This is me sharing my knowledge of 12 years of microgreen growing with you so that you can have the best, freshest microgreens because you deserve the best and I want to see you succeed. I will also walk you through how you grow your microgreens, the reasons why you want to grow your microgreens, and some recipes at the end. It's going to be an incredible journey that I'm going to take you on. So be sure to text microgreens to 26786. If you're enjoying this video so far, be sure to give us a like and subscribe so that you don't miss any amazing microgreen videos. Let's talk about something that may confuse you. You see all these microgreen growers with these amazing grow racks and all this equipment. Do you need that in order to grow microgreens? The answer is no, you don't. It can be as simple as just having a window that you put your microgreens right next to. It is so easy and so much fun. When I started growing microgreens, all I had was a little grow tray, some seeds, soil, and then I just put them right next to my window and they grew really well. And if you want to be more advanced and get a grow light for your microgreens, then you can go ahead and go to Facebook Marketplace or on Amazon. I like to go to Facebook Marketplace because it's at a discount, so it's a little bit easier to get them and less expensive. And you don't need something super fancy. In fact, this video right here will walk you through what you need for growing your microgreens with a grow light and in the sun. It's super simple and easy. And with our microgreen grow kits, we make it even easier because you don't need to go out and source your soil, your seeds, get everything together because we do that for you. I like to say you may not have a green thumb, but you have a microgreen thumb. So remember that secret tip I mentioned earlier? What's coming up in just a second. One of the most amazing things about microgreens is it's super easy to harvest. You just go over to your kitchen counter, harvest your microgreens, then just place it on your meals. The other thing that makes microgreens easy is you don't have to change what you're eating to be able to incorporate microgreens. I've added microgreens to my pizza or my macaroni and cheese because you know that makes it healthier, right? It's just adding a little bit extra nutrition will make such a huge difference long term. And it doesn't have to change everything. Okay, so now for that secret tip. There are some microgreens that need soaking, such as your peas or your sunflower, and soaking them will change the way that you grow your microgreens and make it super easy and simple. Now that you're on your way to growing microgreens, I want to share with you a story of why I ditched growing my garden outside to grow microgreens inside. So watch this video over here and you will see why I have ditched my garden. And if you want to go even deeper on growing your microgreens, click the link in the description or check out the pinned comment for more information. As always, stay awesome.
Are you ready to grow fresh, delicious greens right at home without needing a green thumb? Microgreens are the perfect way to add nutrients, flavor, and fun to your meals. And the best part? They're super easy to grow. Today, I'm going to show you step by step how to start your very own microgreen garden. Let's get growing. And be sure to stay till the very end because I have a mind-blowing secret tip that you're not going to want to miss. Hey Microgreen Thumbs, I'm Connor Hebel with Amelia Island Microgreens, your go-to source for all things microgreens. Whether you're a seasoned gardener or a total beginner, growing microgreens is one of the easiest and most rewarding ways to enjoy fresh, nutrient-packed greens right in your kitchen. So first things first, let's get everything you need. So there's two ways we can go about this. One way is to DIY it by finding all the soil, the seeds, the trays, all of that, measuring it. It can be a little bit tedious and a little time consuming. So if you're a little intimidated by growing your own food, I would not recommend this way. I would recommend getting a microgreen kit. Everything's measured out. You just open your box and you're ready to go. So what you'll need, let's talk about seeds first. Seeds are super important to get the good quality seeds. You want to get seeds that are pathogen tested. And why I say that is, remember like 5 or 6 years ago, there were the E. coli and salmonella scares with sprouting. That was because people were getting seeds that had not been tested for pathogens. So they were incubating all that salmonella and E. coli in their sprouting jar. Because you're eating so closely to that seed, you have no room for error in having any pathogens in there. Yikes. So let's make sure that we get pathogen tested seeds and we won't have any problem with that. Plus, another benefit to that is typically when they test for pathogens, they also test the germination rate. So you're going to have the best quality seeds that will germinate. because sometimes you'll get seeds that won't. And so we want to have high germination rate and pathogen tested seeds. As a bonus, it's great to have organic heirloom non-GMO seeds when that's available. Another thing that you're going to want to get is soil. So there's many different options for soil. My personal favorite is called cocoa coir, and it is a sterilized coconut husk. Why I love this one is it's easy to grow on, and you don't have eruptions of bugs because it's been sterilized. With soil, you have the risk of getting bugs in your house, and I just prefer to avoid that. I've fought weevils before. I don't want to fight bugs again. It's just not my thing. So I prefer cocoa coir. Another thing you're going to want to get is a grow tray. My suggestion is get a 2-tier grow tray like this, one where you can lift it up, put a cup of water, and put that back down. The reason why this is so important is because it significantly reduces your risk of mold. Since microgreens are grown so densely, there's not a lot of ventilation going through there. So if you pour water on top, then there's a high chance of mold because there's no airflow going through there. So lifting that tray up, putting a cup of water and putting that back down is going to be your best bet in reducing your risk of mold. I highly recommend it. I've grown microgreens for 12 years, and when I started growing with this, it was a huge game changer. So start here, don't do what I did. And of course a spray bottle for watering. And another thing, you want to get good quality water, so ideally not tap water because it can have some harsh chemicals and chlorine. And the last thing you'll need is tinfoil or a dark space for the first 3 days of germination because we're going to keep it in a cool, dark space. And that's it. You don't need a ton of space, fancy tools, or even a garden to get started. Just a countertop that you can put your microgreens on and that has a little bit of light coming in. Okay, so now fill your container with your cocoa coir. Spread it out evenly and gently press it down to create a firm base for your seeds. Just make sure you don't press too hard because you want your roots to be able to have some airflow going in there. This step ensures your microgreens grow evenly and have good root support. The next step is your seeds. If you are DIYing this, you're going to want to go onto a seed calculator and calculate the size of your tray to the seeds that you have, and make sure you get the right quantity of seeds for your tray. For those of you with a microgreen kit, you just simply open up the seed packet and evenly spread it across your tray. You're going to want to keep it as even as possible and avoid having big clumps of seeds because that will give you a higher chance of mold. Because where it's grown super densely, there's going to be less ventilation. So don't go overboard. Microgreens like a little breathing room. All right, now it's time for water. For those of you with an Amelia Island microgreen kit, you'll have a little pH test strip. This is an optional step. However, I feel like it makes a huge difference to be able to make sure that you're getting the optimal water for your microgreens. So for those of you who are familiar with the pH scale, you have your alkaline side and your acidic side. And what you're looking for your microgreens is right in the middle at about 6.5 to 7 on that pH scale. So go ahead and take that pH test strip, dip it into the water, pull it back out, and match it with the key on your instructions. And if it's a little bit more acidic, go ahead and put some baking soda in your water. If it's more alkaline, then add a little bit of lemon or some vinegar, and that will help balance it out. All right, so now that you have pH balanced water, we're gonna go ahead and give our seeds a good misting with your spray bottle. The goal here is to keep your soil moist, but never soggy. Microgreens don't like wet. So if you're using cocoa coir, one of the things I absolutely love about it is it's like a mood ring. You can see when you're needing to water and when you're overwatered. So what I like to do is take one of these compressed coconut pucks like this and just look at how it's a lighter brown compared to when I pour water on it. Whenever it looks like this lighter brown, that means you need to water your microgreens. On the other side, if it looks like a mud pie, you don't need to water your microgreens for a bit. You want to avoid the two ends of those spectrums. If it's kind of slightly damp, kind of a dark brown but not super dark, that's where you want it. Where it's not overly watered, but it's not gonna dry up either. So now for the first 3 days, it's gonna be super simple. You'll take a piece of tinfoil and put it over your tray. And for these first 3 days, you just lift that tinfoil up, mist your seeds, and mist the underside of that tinfoil once a day for the next 3 days. If you're enjoying this video so far, be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and the notification bell. That way you never miss another video and you get to know everything about microgreens. If you're ready to dive even deeper into microgreens, head over to ameliaislandmicrogreens.com/101 for a free masterclass that dives into microgreen growing, taking you from microgreen beginner to microgreen grower. It uses my 12 years of microgreen growing knowledge to be able to inspire you to grow your own microgreens easily and effortlessly. So head over to ameliaislandmicrogreens.com/101 to find out more. All right, so now we're at day 4. This is where things change and get really cool. So now you're gonna take off that tinfoil, take your microgreens and put them next to a window. Ambient light's perfect, it doesn't have to be direct sunlight. And if you notice that you just don't have enough light in your house, that's okay. There are grow lights you can get that will simulate the sunlight and be just as good. And you can get them on like Amazon or Facebook Marketplace pretty easily. I'll link a couple down below that I like, and you can check those out or check out other ones. Okay, so now for watering. This is where it gets really cool. You lift up those 2 trays, put a cup of water in, put that back down. And I suggest waiting 15 minutes, then coming back over and just making sure there's no water in that second tray. And the reason why is you don't want your microgreens soaked in water. You want to keep them dry, but you want them to have enough water that they grow. And the reason why you don't want that water is you don't want root rot or mold. So just checking on it, making sure it's doing well is all you need to do. Just a little bit of water once a day and just coming back 15 minutes later. And you'll do this once a day for the next 7 days. All right, it's day 7. Guess what? It is time to eat these microgreens. So I'm just gonna harvest what I want to eat today, and I'm gonna let the rest continue growing. So for the rest that's growing, I'm just gonna do the same stuff that I've been doing. Cup of water, check back 15 minutes. And now that I'm at day 7, I have 14 days to eat my microgreens before they're gonna start turning sour. So if I can't eat them in that time, then I'll go ahead and harvest them and put them in the fridge, and that'll give me another 14 days to eat off of them. If you want to learn more about how to harvest your microgreens, check out this video right here where I will go in depth on how to harvest and how to store them so you can get the best freshness from your microgreens. So now I want to hear from you. What's your biggest takeaway from this video? Are you ready to start growing your microgreens? If so, what are you most excited about? I love hearing from you and I read all my comments. And if you have any questions, comment them down below. You never know, I might do a video that highlights your question because there's probably another person who has that same exact question, and that way I'm able to help all of you. So let's talk about what can you add your microgreens to? You can add them to everything that you're eating, from soups, salads, sandwiches, smoothies, even just as a garnish. They'll bring a burst of flavor and nutrients to any dish. Not only are microgreens fun and easy to grow, they're also packed with up to 40% more nutrient density than your mature greens. Plus, growing your own is a sustainable and cost-effective way to bring fresh produce into your home. It's a win-win. Thanks for joining me on this microgreen growing journey. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss more gardening tips. And if you're ready to grow with confidence, visit ameliaislandmicrogreens.com/101 to enroll in my Microgreens 101 Masterclass. It's your ultimate guide to thriving microgreens every time. Have any questions or tips of your own? Drop them in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Remember, the smallest seeds can make the biggest impact on your plate and in your life. Stay curious, keep growing, and I'll see you in my next video. As always, stay awesome.